American Mason Command supervised the significant ceremony today that was held in our United States Cemetery at Hamm, just outside of this beautiful capital city of Luxembourg. Similar Memorial Day ceremonies were held in all of the other 36 cemeteries which are under the supervision of this command. At Lisnabrini in Ireland, at Cambridge and Brookwood in England, at Malmo, Sweden, Munsingen, Switzerland, at our 3 cemeteries in Holland, 4 in Belgium, and 24 in France. In each of these cemeteries also, there was an impressive and dignified ceremony. Some 156,000 men and women of the United States lost their lives in the European theater during the course of World War II. This is more than half of the fatal casualties suffered by our country. Of those who lost their lives in the European theater, 144,000 are now resting in these cemeteries. Many of the cemeteries were established during combat, often, of necessity, upon the battlefields themselves. After VE Day, the American Graves Registration Command was formed. Landscape architects and horticulturists were brought over from the United States to give technical advice with respect to the planting of shrubs, grass, and flowers. These battlefield sites have now been developed into the beautiful park-like resting places where our ceremonies have been held today. The search for our 12,000 who have not yet been found is continuing. All means are being used to obtain information that might lead to their recovery. Posters, appeals in newspapers and on the radio, the local government, all are used to make known to the peoples of these lands over here that the Army is searching for its missing. Trained investigators and search teams sift the information that is supplied and often find many leads themselves. During 1946, our search and recovery teams covered an area of approximately 1.25 million square miles. They penetrated 300 miles beyond the Arctic Circle. They recovered our dead from the islands of the Azores, 1,000 miles off the coast of Portugal. Their operations extended through Czechoslovakia and into the Ploiești oil fields of Romania. No clue that might lead to the recovery of an American has been overlooked. No clue that may lead to the recovery of an American will be overlooked. To establish positive identification of our dead, the experience of American police departments has been combined with the discoveries and developments of our own identification experts. Scientific processes and equipment are in constant use. The fluoroscope, the X-ray, infrared photography, measuring devices of all types. All of these are used in our identification procedures. All care is taken to ensure that identification is positive. Unless it is positive, no identification is accepted. I think you would like to know that the chaplains of the American Graves Registration Command visit all of our cemeteries frequently, and that religious services are often conducted in the cemetery chapels by the local people. From the outset, the peoples of the liberated countries have shown in many ways their gratitude to your sons and husbands and fathers. Not a day goes by that does not see groups of grateful people of Holland, Belgium, France, and Luxembourg visiting the cemeteries. Soon the program for the return of our soldiers who lost their lives in World War II will begin, and those whose next of kin elect to have them return to the United States will begin the long, long journey home. The program is scheduled to begin in the early fall of this year, and many of the men and women to whom we have paid our respects today will be in family burial plots or national cemeteries in the United States when Memorial Day of 1948 comes around. I wish to assure you, all of you who have loved ones in our cemeteries over here, that my command will never forget the reverence and respect to which they are entitled. Our preparations have been extensive to ensure that the greatest care shall be given to all of your deceased, whether they are to be returned to the homeland or are to remain over here in the lands that they fought to liberate. I want all of you to know that the American Graves Registration Committee will do its to full obligation to those who died in the service of our country.
Thank you, General Peckham. Luxembourg is a storybook land of medieval castles, misty forests, and smiling fields. It measures only about 2,500 square miles, has only about 300,000 citizens, independent of all their neighbors for more than 100 years. The ruling family of Luxembourg is the House of Nassau, related to the royal family of the Netherlands. And the reigning sovereign is Her Royal Highness, Grand Duchess Charlotte of Luxembourg. The Grand Duchess is a regal but retiring mother of 6 children. She rarely appears in public. She was represented at this morning's ceremony by her husband, Prince Felix, and by her oldest son, Prince John, who is heir to the throne. But she has consented to transcribe for NBC a Memorial Day message to America. The next voice you hear will be that of the Grand Duchess of Luxembourg.
Today, on Memorial Day, a whole nation kneels beside the grave of its most beloved dead. But the great American nation, who so generously championed the cause of freedom for all other people, great or small, is not alone in its vigil. All over Europe's bleeding earth, men and women bend their heads in a silent tribute to those who gave their lives that we might live. Not far from our country's capital, at the Hamm Cemetery, thousands of American soldiers of every rank who fell in the battle for the Ardennes lie beneath their wooden crosses. With them, their glorious commander, General Patton. There they sleep, surrounded by the affectionate devotion and the boundless gratitude of my people. Their last resting place will remain forever one of the sacred shrines of Luxembourg. Memorial Day has always been a day of remembrance and contemplation. Since the war, this annual rendezvous of the living with the dead has taken on an even deeper significance. The endless rows of unassuming crosses are a constant reminder of the last unspoken message of the young heroes of this gigantic struggle for freedom and existence. They tell us, the survivors, to make every endeavor that their sacrifice should not be in vain. They recall John McCree's immortal lines from flowerless fields. To you, from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to keep it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep. But they shall sleep in peace. We shall heed their earnest entreaties. On this Memorial Day, we solemnly renew the pledge they expect from us, that we all, great or small, powerful or humble, shall strive ceaselessly with the help of God until humanity has been spared the horror of war.
That was the Grand Duchess of Luxembourg. And this has been a moving experience for the members of the European staff of NBC assigned to bring you an account of today's Memorial Day observance and the words of Grand Duchess Charlotte and General Peckham. The next of kin of the Americans buried here and elsewhere in Europe are now being consulted as to whether the bodies should be left here or returned to America. If they are to go home, General Peckham's command will take them in full dignity. If they remain here, the people of the Grand Duchess will be honored to watch over them. Either way, those of us who observe today's ceremony are sure they are in good hands. This is Henry Cassidy in Luxembourg.
NBC has presented Memorial Day Overseas with Grand Duchess Charlotte of Luxembourg, Brigadier General Howard Peckham, Henry Cassidy, and Paul Archinard of NBC's overseas staff. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.